Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Yep, here I am. 1 kill away from a backpack full of loot. I don't know how many times I've found myself in this situation, but I'd say it was pretty regularly. Now, that's the thing about me. I've been chasing this risk, this reward, for a long time. And if you trace it back far enough, you can find the moment that it started. Back in 2007, in a little browser game called RuneScape, there was this place called the Wilderness. And a thin black line in a wilderness ditch separated safety from chaos. You'd step across it and suddenly every single item you owned was on the line. Your sword, your gold, your armor, all of it. You'd stare at that line, wondering if the loot on the other side was worth it. And most of the time, it was. Because once you tasted that rush, the mixology of fear and possibility, you couldn't go back. It was gambling with pixels, but it felt real. It always did. Years later, that same hunger came crawling back in a zombie apocalypse game. It was called DayZ. It wasn't about gold anymore. It was about food, ammo, and trust. You could spend hours scavenging and creeping through ruined towns, and then you'd spot another survivor. He'd wave at you, you'd wave back. For a second, there was peace. But then, you shot him, and you realized that this world doesn't reward the kind. You loot his body in silence, and as you walk away, you tell yourself you did what you had to do. But deep down, you know why you really did it. Because that feeling, that rush, it's addictive. And then came one hell of a game called Rust, a world where survival wasn't enough anymore. Rust didn't just let you loot somebody's body, it let you burn their entire house down. And you'd spend days building your base, stacking walls and hoarding guns, and still, one night while you slept, someone would blow through your front door and take everything that you own. Sure, it was heartbreaking, but the first time you did it to someone else, it was pure dopamine. Rust made greed a lifestyle. It wasn't about staying alive, it was about being feared, being rich, being the one who took instead of lost. And once again, I couldn't stop. Then the big studios caught on. In 2006, The Division dropped its players into the Dark Zone, a snow-covered battlefield of trust and betrayal. You'd spend an hour fighting through enemies, collecting contaminated loot, and when you called for extraction, a helicopter would drop its rope from the sky. The sound, the siren, meant everyone nearby knew that you had something worth stealing, and everything would go quiet. Everyone's guns half lowered, waiting to see who fires first, willing to betray their fellow raiders. And then, when the first shot went off, it was chaos. The Dark Zone didn't just give us loot, it gave us paranoia. And it proved that greed wasn't a bug in gaming, it was a feature that made it thrilling. After that, I ran into a beautiful game called Tarkov, and there was no checkpoints, no respawns, no mercy. This game didn't care if you slept well, didn't care if you ate well, didn't care if your coffee was warm. It didn't hold your hand and left you stranded in a post-apocalyptic world. And you go in fully geared knowing you could lose everything with one mistake, but that's what made it so intoxicating. The fear, the tension, the sound of your own breathing while you wait in the dark. The moment you finally make it to extraction though, that release of tension, something you can't quite replicate anywhere else. It's the purest form of risk versus reward gaming has ever seen. Because Tarkov isn't about loot, it's about what loot means. It's proof that you survived, proof that you took the risk and it paid off. And now we're here, standing on the edge of what comes next. And I believe that is Arc Raiders. It's not out yet, but you can already kind of feel it. That same pulse that's been running through gaming for nearly 20 years. A third-person cinematic extraction shooter that might just make the gamble bigger than ever. You drop into a ruined world, scavenging for scraps, fighting to survive against machines that learn from you. They're not scripted AI, but enemies trained with real machine learning. They have learned to walk, hunt, and adapt. Every encounter becomes a question. How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to risk for the chance at something better? It's everything that we've chased since the first step into the wilderness back in 2007. Just louder, faster, and smarter with a little more polish. And that's the truth of it. From the black line of RuneScape to the forests of DayZ, from Rust's burning bases to Tarkov's dark alleys, and we've always been the same kind of player. The kind that knows the smart move is to extract early and does the dumb thing anyway. Because loot isn't about items, it's about the moment. That heartbeat before you push forward, the silence before the shot, the feeling of walking away with something that you weren't supposed to have. That's what keeps us playing and keeps us coming back. We don't play for comfort, we play for the rush, for the risk, and that one perfect second where everything's on the line and we did it all for the loot.
Гоп-стоп, мы подошли из-за угла.